Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new DC live stream. My name's Matthew Batiri. I am here with my co-host Wasim Debussy. How are you, my friend?
I am outstanding. How are you, Matty?
Very, very well, thank you. Good to
right now, huh?
Oh, it's absolutely pumping, which is great. Yeah, it's having a great day right now.
Yeah, sure is.
So we'll see if that continues. Hopefully it does, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. So what are you thinking? What are you saying?
I think we've got a lot of potential, which is great. I think we're going to see a big, I think a little bit of a recovery, and I'm going to show what I think is going to happen a little bit later. But look, we've got so much to cover. I don't want to wait any longer. Let's get into it, shall we?
Outstanding. Let's do it. All right. First, we actually couldn't do that one. That one didn't work for me. So you want to take that one down, Matty? Yeah, the White House. Let's see. We're starting with the White House FUD. So, as you guys know, a few months ago, Biden put out an executive order to do some research into cryptocurrency. Now, this report came back from their Science and Technology, the White House Office of Science and Technology. They released a report. In the report, they started citing that electricity usage from proof of work could cause damage to the environment. Now, they started going here that there should be measures to stop this or even ban this. But then they went ahead and actually contradicted themselves towards the end and saying that some installations of proof of work that uses vented methane to generate electricity for production is more likely to help rather than hinder the United States climate objectives. Now, we've seen this before. There's a lot of talk around proof of work, around electricity that Bitcoin uses. Yes, Bitcoin does use a lot of electricity. We can't deny that. However, what we do know is a lot of Bitcoin miners go and choose and find renewable energy to power their mines. And the reason for that is it actually makes economic sense, not just environmental sense for them to find renewable energies. Economically makes more sense because renewable energy is cheaper. There's also other mines that go to and they build the mines closer to like gas refineries or things like that, where there's excess power being created that gets burnt into the atmosphere. Instead of burning that into the atmosphere, they use that, they then turn that into electricity, which obviously is better for the environment. So this is going to be an ongoing debate and interesting to see which way the White House goes with this. Next up, we have more negative news. This one here is around the Europe's sovereign debt bubble is a domino in hyper-Bitcoinization. So for those of you that prescribe to the hyper-Bitcoinization theory, it talks about that, as Bitcoin gets stronger and the traditional financial system gets weaker, the traditional financial system is going to start falling and cracking, right? And as that happens, what we expect is, the Bitcoin and the new financial system to become stronger and more people moving after that. This article is talking about what is happening right now in Europe and in the UK with the high inflation, the energy crisis, the massive increases in energy costs, and the way that governments are actually approaching this. So what they're doing here is they're actually throwing more money at it. So again, it's the traditional, or it's the, it's what we've been getting used to, where governments put the burden on the future generations, or they kick the can down the road. So what they're doing is governments in, whether it's the UK or in other parts in Europe, they're looking at putting stimulus checks to bail out these energy companies. So they want to put a cap on energy costs, and then the government will pay the difference. Now, where's the government going to get that money from? They're going to turn on the money printer. What happens when you turn on the money printer? You flood the market with fiat currencies, devalues the devalues the fiat currency, therefore increases inflation, which is where we are right now. So hosing a problem that's already, this is like putting oil on a fire, as they say, or putting water on an oil fire. You're just adding more fuel to the fire by printing more and more money, and this is what they're doing right now. And this article talks about that if this continues happening, the Europe in general will have a sovereign debt problem, which may lead them to move towards decentralization and Bitcoin, as we're seeing happening with other countries. Also, they've tried to cap the prices on energy with Russia while they've got sanctions against them. So there's a lot going on here in this article and what's happening in the price of energy over there, but not looking good for the European, and we're interested to see where this one goes. Moving on, we have Sony Music becomes latest entertainment business to embrace NFTs. So even though governments are dragging their feet in terms of regulation, a lot of companies are moving forward and going and just going deep into the metaverse. So Sony's the latest one, and they've registered their Columbia Records logo for NFT releases, which is going to enable them to use that logo for when people have podcasts, when they're releasing music, multiple ways that they can reuse that NFT. So just another way that more and more of these companies are finding ways in which they can find a way to build a community or build brand recognition, brand loyalty, etc., as well as for customers to make money out of it. The use cases for NFTs and blockchain are huge. And it's not the first time that Sony doubles with NFTs. So earlier this year, they also collaborated with Theta in a release of a tablet optimized for viewing for NFTs. Next up, the flippening. Now, this is an interesting debate. Ethereum Maximus will tell you that sooner or later Ethereum will actually flip Bitcoin's market cap. So the flippening here talks about the size of the market cap of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So as you guys know or should know, or if you don't know, you're about to learn, Bitcoin is the number one and the strongest crypto. It's the king of all crypto. It's got the highest market cap. It's the most decentralized one. It's the first original, and it's the number one cryptocurrency out there. Now, Ethereum is the number two cryptocurrency. So both Bitcoin and Ethereum are now, what we consider in crypto to be blue chip, even though they are very, very highly volatile. But these are the two that basically Bitcoin can't be stopped anymore. It's starting to be used as legal tender in some countries. And Ethereum is getting so strong that it also can't be stopped. Now, as we're moving from proof of work over to proof of stake with Ethereum, there's a lot of bullish news on this. Okay, there's also some negative news, as we've discussed, around centralization and whatnot. But what this is talking about is there are some people out there that believe that with what's happening now and the amount of bullishness happening around Ethereum, it will probably become bigger than Bitcoin. Now, this has been, there's two sides to the story. Others are saying it's going to take a very, very long time for Ethereum to flip Bitcoin. It's about 57% away from being able to flip it. So it's got to pretty much double in market cap, and it had a better chance in the 2018 bull run. It was only like $7 billion away in terms of market caps. So interesting to see what will happen. Would love to know from you guys what you think. Do you think Ethereum will flip Bitcoin? Actually, what do you think, Manny?
No.
You don't think?
No, I don't think it ever will. No.
Ever? Okay.
No.
Interesting. Why is that?
Purely for the store value of Bitcoin.
No.
I mean, I think we've pointed out before, if you go to coin market cap over the last 12 years, Bitcoin's always been number one. And I think because of its decentralized manner, and that, it's basically the number one decentralized coin, even though a lot of people claim others are decentralized, I feel that it's always going to be the top dog.
Yeah. Look, I totally agree. I don't think Ethereum will ever flip Bitcoin. There is no coin out there that even compares to Bitcoin. Like you said, store of value. It's the most decentralized one out there. There's nobody controlling it. We saw with Ethereum recently with what happened with Tornado Cash. They also blacklisted or banned or whatever you want to call it, some addresses that interacted with Tornado Cash. So that shows decentralization. That shows centralization, and the whole idea of cryptocurrency is decentralization and anti-censorship. So I think you're 100% correct. The more I learn about crypto, the more I learn about Bitcoin, the more I realize that the number one crypto that will never be, unless something dramatic happens or drastic happens, will ever be beaten is Bitcoin.
100%. Alrighty, let's move on to the Twitter highlights. Thank you, Wasim, for the news. Starting off with Peter Schiff. Official Eurozone inflation is running at a record 9.1%. In a supposed effort to fight the inflation it caused today, the ECB raised interest rates by 75 basis points to 1.25%, leaving the real rate at minus 7.85%. The ECB didn't bring a knife to a gunfight, it brought a spitball. So on top of that, I guess with the death of the Queen, I think a lot of people thought that the markets were going to have a bit of a bloody day, but this is exactly what happens. Sorry about the background. If you can hear my dog, he's just heard someone probably at the front door. But basically, the same way that when the Ukraine and the Russian war got announced, everyone started selling stuff, and then we saw a quick buyback and a quick reversal because right now people are in fear. Energy rises all across Europe. A lot of people are thinking that things are going to go bad, but as you just saw, Bitcoin over the last 48 hours has just had, let me do a quick measurement on my chart, it's just had a huge pump. We've just gone up basically 13% over 48 hours. So I think the markets are always going to do the opposite to what most people are thinking, and that's always the case. You've got to follow the money. And if you've been watching it, if you watched my first Bitcoin TA live stream on Monday, you would have seen that I was pointing out that sort of $19,000 area as a bounce because it was the value area low of the sideways range that we've been in for the last few months. So if you want to know where the price is going for Bitcoin and altcoins, feel free to join me on my Monday and Wednesday technical analysis YouTube live videos. Man, that was a long sentence. Alrighty, moving on to the next one. We've got the Prince of Serbia. We need hard money, immune to inflation, and Bitcoin is the solution. So could Serbia be, I guess, the first European country to adopt Bitcoin like El Salvador did? That could be huge news. And that's obviously, it's just a step in the right direction. I'm not too sure where they stand in regards to GDP to all the other European countries. I know that they're, fairly well off. They've got one of the best tennis players in the world. But yeah, it's really good to see that we have more countries looking to adopt it, because this is going to be big news if they become the first European country to have it as a legal tender. Moving on, we have Lucas Nahul Velasco saying that Bitcoin addresses with a balance of 1 Bitcoin reached a new all-time high. So despite the bearish market, adoption continues to grow. So it just shows that retail investors are becoming smarter. They're accumulating during this time. And even though sometimes some of the big whale wallets are still selling off their assets during this time of sideways action and trying to push the price low so they can accumulate more, I think through education, retail investors are becoming smarter in regards to what's happening inside the market. So it's great to see. Next one is by Daniel Batten. Zoom out. Ethereum will become carbon neutral, but Bitcoin will become carbon negative many times over. ETH will have less environmental impact pre-2024, and Bitcoin is order of magnitude better from 2024 onwards. So previously in the news highlights, Wasim spoke about how the US are trying to put in a bill to ban proof of work because they think it's bad for the environment. But there's been that much research done that certain countries are mining Bitcoin efficiently and using obviously sources such as solar, wind, and other things. So hopefully people sort of still realize, and this is one of the big things why I think Bitcoin will outperform Ethereum. So I think it's going to remain the top dog, because as the global warming continues and we have more and more environmental impacts on the world, it feels like every day we're seeing something on the news: floods, bushfires, hailstorms, whatever. It's only going to get worse. And the better we can take care of the emissions that we create day to day, I think people are going to start realizing we need to continue to use things that are more efficient and friendly on the environment. Last tweet here by Wolves of Crypto. Nice move to the upside for Bitcoin. We caught this move in the recent video. Don't be fooled though. This is just a noise on the macro scale. Want actual progress? Wait for this line break. So with that being said, I want to show you a bit of a chart that I created right before. Normally I won't do market analysis anymore because we do the TA on Monday. But basically, I found a little bit of a common pattern out of each bull run. So basically, during the bear market, we have steady decline, which tends to stay below a trend line. We then have this sort of double zigzag pattern. So first wave, second wave, which usually gets to the golden pocket retracement, the point 618 fib retracement. This one was a little bit short, but if you draw a trend line from that second peak, once we break this secondary trend line, we then start the very quick acceleration of the bull market, so the exponential growth. The second bull run, we have the same thing. So we have this bear market, we have this trend line that we stay below. We then obviously create this double wave pattern. So one wave, second wave, we hit the 618 retracement. Once we break it, we have the boom, I was going to say the lift off to the moon and to the Lambos. Here's the secondary bear line. Once we break it, we do a double pump. I can just, if I move that, you can kind of see we came up, down, and then up. We have a retracement, and then we hit the 618. We have another trend line, and now obviously once we break the trend line, we go the exponential growth to the moon. And then I've drawn the potential of where we are now. So we have this trend line. We're probably going to come up here at some point in the next couple of months, touch the trend line, get a bit of a rejection. But once we do, I expect a double pump to the 618, which is right now at $53,000 if we don't go any lower. And then we'll have a bit of a retracement or sideways action. But once we break this trend line once again, that's going to be, I think it's going to be end of 2023, early 2024. We're going to see that parabolic rise in Bitcoin. This little blue drawing that I've created is a double bottom. So double bottoms are a pattern in all assets that basically show that we have a lot of support at that price. That's why we formed a double bottom. We basically came back down to close to equal lows of where we formed these lows back here in June. And you can see that this double bottom occurs always when we're in that bear market, so below that first trend line. Here's another double bottom. Okay, this one obviously we didn't go as low, but you can see the sort of W formation. Here's another one. It was more of a triple bottom, okay, right there. And then we have the first bull run where we have another double bottom. So even though I've been calling for a $16,500 Bitcoin, we may have bottom. We may have just basically bottomed out. We formed this double bottom and we continue to the upside. The only reason I think that we should still go low is still because inflation is really high and things are looking to get worse economically. So we might just have a bit of a fake out pump, get people excited, and then they dump it on our faces. So we'll have to just wait and see. But that's enough. Like I said, I don't want to go through market analysis anymore. If you want to see market analysis, join myself on Monday and Wednesday, and we can talk nonstop about market analysis and where the price is going to go. Alrighty, over to you, Wasim, for the adoption highlights.
Thank you very much. So this week we saw again, this is the wrong article, Matt. I've updated the article, bro. No, I updated the article in the sheet. So it's the one from Cointelegraph. Yep, that's the right one. Thank you, Matty. So this week we saw, a couple of days ago, we saw El Salvador celebrate 1 year Bitcoin anniversary. So it's been 1 year since El Salvador's law came into effect for Bitcoin to become legal tender. So what have they done in the past year with Bitcoin? So obviously one of the biggest criticisms that El Salvador has been copying is that their Bitcoin investment is down like 30, 40, 50% or whatever it is, because they did purchase at around $46,000. However, that's not the only thing that we're looking at when it comes to Bitcoin adoption. Yes, Bitcoin is volatile. And in this article, they highlight that number one is there's been more people who are banked now. There's also a reduction in remittance advices. There's also an increase of about 80% in terms of tourism to El Salvador. They're building a Bitcoin beach. They're building a Bitcoin city. They're mining Bitcoin through using their volcanic energy. So there's so many advantages that El Salvador is starting to see that are going to really show for the long term. So even though there's a lot of critics out there saying that El Salvador has lost a lot of value, it's unrealized cost. And actually, what the El Salvador Minister for Finance came out and said this. He said, yes, they are down, but we are not going to sell. So it's their unrealized losses, and they're waiting for Bitcoin to go to where we believe, which will be around $1 million of Bitcoin by 2030 or so. All right, next up. Okay, so this article here, as you guys know, we're talking about adoption. One of the main important things to remember, as I've always said, is, it's good to look at what the market is doing. It's good to understand what's happening right now. But they could look at long term. And this is showing that even though there is a recession coming, even though governments still haven't governments have been dragging their feet when it comes to crypto regulation, a lot of businesses are going deep into crypto. So number one here, we're talking about Wall Street, and they're talking about how JP Morgan has actually did a whole 180-degree flip when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, they said that it was a fraud back in 2017. Now they have over 200 employees in their digital assets department, which serves as which looks at tokenized equities, DeFi, et cetera. We have over a recent report or survey has highlighted that from about 2,000 senior executives, they realized that about 85% of the respondents said that they are going to or are already invested in blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, and they expect for them to be able to accept cryptocurrency payments within the next 24 months or so. PayPal has launched services in October. Visa, MasterCard also have launched crypto debit cards. In fact, Visa is reported to have done $2.5 billion of digital asset turnover just in Q1 of 2022. So yeah, that's a $10 billion a year department for them already, and we are still so early on. A lot of other crypto payment systems are coming, and obviously, regulation is the biggest hurdle right now. So as soon as regulation comes, we're going to see this space absolutely explode, which is why it's so important, guys, to get involved now, because once it explodes, you'll miss out on an opportunity. Alrighty, GameStop partners with crypto exchange FTX to boost digital asset adoption. So GameStop was involved in the whole, conspiracy last year with their prices going up and down. But anyway, they've now recently partnered up with FTX to be their retail partner. So when you get to GameStop shop, you can buy FTX gift cards. There's other things that they can do together through their platform, NFTs, et cetera. So this is a joint venture between GameStop and FTX to get more and more crypto adoption into the retail hand, which is exactly what we need. And FTX and GameStop, obviously, as you guys know, metaverse and gaming has a massive part to play in crypto. And this is just real world companies coming together to work on this. All right. Okay, so now we're looking at why the Philippines could become the blockchain hub of Asia. So Philippines has shown that, or the Filipino population has shown interest in crypto since 2017. And and the significance in the Philippines has been that a lot of people, as we saw during the pandemic, a lot of people turned to games to make money online when they couldn't. And they're actually talking about that in the Philippines, it does have the potential to become the world's or the Asia's capital of blockchain. It's currently now the 17th most crypto-aware country in the world. They have about 4 or 5% of their population that already use crypto. And the Department of Science and Technology is looking at use cases for blockchain technology in healthcare, financial assistance, government record storage, visa, passport insurance, and trademark registrations. So it looks like there's a bit of a race happening over in Asia right now, and the Philippines are looking to win that race to become the blockchain hub. Now, we spoke last week about South Korea how they're doing it in Busan City and Colombia. So there's, as you can see, every continent has some countries who are racing to become that blockchain center. Obviously in Latin America, we've got Brazil and Mexico obviously going for that race. Last but not least, more mainstream adoption as banks and brands already deep in crypto. So even though recession, government regulation being slow, there is so many companies going deeper and deeper into crypto, and there's so many articles about that today. So in this article, they're talking about how many companies have bought land in Sandbox and Decentraland. These companies include Netflix, Dolce & Gabbana, Tommy Hilfiger, Time, Binance, Look Rare, Rarible, FTX, Gemini, the Smurfs, and so many other companies who've bought land in the metaverse, including Samsung. They've opened up their own metaverse store and starting to allow and give their customers metaverse experiences. So Sandbox and Decentraland were two of the metaverses that we picked out during the last bull market, saying that these are going to be very they're going to have very good potential. And we're seeing here that now companies like Nike, companies like Time, companies like Budweiser, Tiffany, all of these companies are finding places in the metaverse because they know that this is the future. You know, Tiffany even brought out a diamond earring. We had to buy and burn 30 Ethereum to be able to get access to them. So more and more adoptions on the way, guys. Nike also purchased an NFT, a metaverse shoe store. So a shoe store that lives predominantly on the metaverse. They went and bought it, which is now part of Nike's business. All right, over to you, Maddie. Let's see from the adoption highlight.
Yeah, that's it for us. I guess we just want to let everyone know one more time, we have the Oz CryptoCon next weekend. So we're going to have the whole Breakout Solutions team there. If you'd like to come say hi, meet us face to face, please make sure you do so. And like Wasim said at the start of the stream, we're basically live now Monday to Friday, and we've got a couple of tutorial videos and how-to videos being posted on Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to see more great content and you want to improve and increase your education and knowledge regarding the crypto space, feel free to watch our channel. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notifications bell so you can see every time that we are going live. On top of that, we also have our new 1K day workshop that is going to be at the end of this month. So I've got the link just below where I'm talking right now. Head to breakoutnow.co/1K day. Register and come find out what the 5 megatrends are that you want to be involved in before the next bull run occurs, because we believe these trends are going to boost your bags into the future. And if you haven't been investing during this bear market, then hopefully you don't FOMO in like most people do during the bull run.
That's it.
Right, guys, that's it from us. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye for now.
Peace out. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.